Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Dr. Carlton, and we are going to discuss this week Chapter 9, titled The Professional Ethics and Responsibilities from Sarah Bass's 4th edition of A Gift of Fire. What we will cover this week will include what are professional ethics, or what is professional ethics, ethical guidelines for computer professionals, as well as scenarios to help you with this week's discussion/case study. The textbook states the term computer ethics varies considerably. It can include social and political issues as the impact of computers on employment, the environmental impact of computers, whether or not to sell computers to totalitarian governments, use of computer systems by military, and the impact of new applications on privacy. Professional ethics includes relationships with and responsibilities toward customers, clients, coworkers, employees, employers, others who use products and services, and others who may affect. Medical doctors, lawyers, judges, accountants, and many others have a code of ethics that are expected within their professions. There is an expectation to adhere to the code of ethics and that it will improve the professional environment within these professions. There are special aspects to making ethical decisions in a professional context. Honesty is one of the most fundamental ethical values. We all make hundreds of decisions all day long. The consequences of some decisions are minor. Others are huge and affect people we never meet. At times, ethical issues are controversial. Section 4 of Chapter 1 described the general ethical principles and theories. It would be good to reread or review those. Next, we will consider ethical guidelines for computer professionals while considering sample scenarios you may face. Most people affected by the devices, systems, and services of professionals do not understand how they work and cannot easily judge their quality and safety. A professional advertises his or her expertise and thus has an obligation to provide it. A professional has special responsibilities not just to customers, but to those indirectly affected. These responsibilities include thinking about potential risks to privacy and security of data, safety, reliability, and ease of use. Because of the complexity of computer software, professionals have an ethical responsibility not simply to avoid intentional evil, but to exercise a high degree of care and follow good professional practices to reduce the likelihood of problems. They must maintain an expected level of competence and be up to date on current knowledge, technology, and standards of the profession. There are several organizations for the range of professions included in the general term computer professional. The main ones are the ACM, the Association for Computing Machinery, and the IEEE, Institute for Electrical and Electronics Engineers, pronounced IEEE. They've developed the Software Engineering Code of Ethics and Professional Practice, adopted jointly by the ACM and IEEE CS, or Computer Society, and the ACM Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct. In our module overview for this week, you will find the updated version of the ACM Code of Ethics and Professional Code as a link to their website. The codes emphasize the basic ethical values of honesty and fairness. They cover many aspects of professional behavior, including the responsibility to respect confidentiality, maintain professional competence, be aware of relevant laws, and honor contracts and agreements. They stress the responsibility to respect and protect privacy, to avoid harm to others, and to respect property rights. These guidelines also assist in providing guidance for new or young members. The guidelines and professional responsibility helps us to understand what success means. Defining the role of a system too narrowly will result in a system foul-up, similar to the opening day of Kuala Lumpur's airport that we will discuss later in this semester. 2, it includes users in the design and testing stages to provide safe and useful systems. Look at the reinforcing exclusion on page 409 for more information about this. 3, do a thorough, careful job when planning and scheduling a project and when writing bids of contracts. Inadequate planning is likely to lead to pressure for cutting corners. And 4, design for real users. Real people make typos. It is the responsibility of the system designers and programmers to provide clear user interfaces and include appropriate checking of input. Additional guidelines and professional responsibilities include: don't assume existing software is safe or correct. Review and test it. In Chapter 8, we will see that a complete safety evaluation is important even when software from an earlier version is being considered for the same application. There is a possibility a failure would have serious consequences. 2, be open and honest about capabilities, safety, and limitations of software. The line between emphasizing your best qualities and being dishonest is not always clear, but it should be clear that hiding known serious flaws and lying to customers are on the wrong side of the line. 3, require a convincing case for safety. Deciding how much risk is acceptable is one of the most difficult problems. 4, pay attention to defaults. Default options may not seem important, but to people that do not know the options they control or do not understand the issues of security, the default options could mean the difference between an identity theft victim. And 5, develop the communication skills. It is difficult to determine how much a client can understand and absorb. Having a good set of communication skills will help your frustration stay low and increase your customer satisfaction. When we look at the scenarios for this chapter, they're typically intended to be done in an on-campus or a face-to-face session. We're going to try to adapt to that in the discussion board, so I want to use these as examples for you. These should not be used in responding or posting to the discussion board, but are acceptable to be used as a guide. What you see here is actually the brainstorming phase, where you would list all the people and organizations affected, list the risk, issues, problems, and consequences, the benefits, identify who gets each benefit, as well as in cases where there is no simple yes or no decision, but rather one has to choose some action, list the possible actions. These have been adapted as part of your response to your 3 peers. Additionally, the next slide, the analysis phase has also been included as part of the requirement or a guide for your response to your 3 peers. You're going to identify the responsibilities of the decision maker, identify the rights of the stakeholders, consider the impact of the options on the stakeholders. What are the consequences, risk, benefits, harms, and cost? Categorize each potential action as ethically obligatory, prohibited, or acceptable. When there are multiple options, select one, considering the ethical merits of each, courtesy to others, practicality, self-interest, personal preferences. These are all guides for you in helping you to do the analysis or the responses to your peers. Now let's look at what your initial post will take the form of. In scenario number 1, we are looking at protecting personal data. Your customer is a community clinic that works with families with problems of family violence. It has 3 sites in the same city, including a shelter for battered women and children. The director wants a computerized record and appointment system, networked for 3 sites. She wants a new laptop computers on which staffers can carry records when they visit clients at home and stay in touch with clients by email. She asked about an app for staffers' smartphones by which they could access records at social service agencies. At the shelter, staffers use only first names for clients, but the records contain last names and forwarding addresses of women who have recently left. This would be an example of what your initial post to the discussion/case study will be for this week. I thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy reviewing the ACM Code of Ethics. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact your teaching assistant or myself for additional assistance. Have a great week, and thank you for listening.